good evening, and welcome to this Monday, December 14th edition of the Referee's Corner here on IslandStats.com. I'm joined by youth referee and, can I say PHC senior player?
Yeah, you're allowed to say that.
Keyshawn Bean. Well, first of all, Keyshawn, thank you very much for taking the time out to talk about refereeing, whether it be youth, senior, whatever. We're going to be joined by some others as they get themselves on. But first of all, we're going to start as a little something new. And Keyshawn, you cannot answer these questions. We're going to put up a few questions for people. If you, through Facebook, send me back a message. If you know the answer, you can win a prize from the Bermuda Football Association. The first question is the goalkeeper defending against a penalty kick allowed to have 1 foot into the field prior to the ball being in play? Once again, is the goalkeeper defending against a penalty kick allowed to have 1 foot into the field prior to the ball being in play? The next question: is a goal scored directly from a ball thrown by the opposing goalkeeper counted? Once again, is a goal, or if the ball ends up in the back of the net directly from a throw from the opposing goalkeeper, does it count? So we have 2 questions up for grabs, and we'll get back to them as we get along. But Keyshawn, how long have you been officiating?
Well, no, this year actually marked 3 years since I first started youth refereeing, so I think it's been really good for me for the past 3 years.
Yeah. How has it helped you? You've always been one of those kind, mild-mannered players. You probably have a little hot streak in you.
Just a little bit.
But how has
barely
it
when I get hit.
How has it helped you in playing the game?
Well, it actually shows me the many different styles or different personalities, you could say, on the football field, because, being a football player, you have teammates that may be hot-heads or may be calm and may be leaders, but seeing it in the youth age, it actually makes me look at them and just think that it's just crazy that some of these young guys could have the exact same things, although being way younger than us, and that they have drives and they have motivations, whether it be girls or trying to just keep a clean sheet. They all have them type of things. So it makes me see the game also differently too.
Do you prepare a little different when you got to officiate as opposed to when you have to play?
Yes, I do actually. But usually the playing, we usually warm up and stuff. I'm not even gonna lie to you, and I'm refereeing. If I'm in the middle, I don't really get a little bit of a warm up. I do a little stretch here and there, but it's just straight out there. Make sure my officials are ready and just try to get started right on time, and then in the game, just make sure I'm keeping up with the play.
Right. Do you find yourself as when you're playing? Do you find yourself judging a referee's call at times?
Of course. I mean, especially now that I'm a ref, I see some of the calls that they make, and then I'll be judging them off of my basis, and then also I'll be getting back and think, I'm like, okay, I saw the referee call that, so should I call that just as the referee did when I was playing in the youth game? So it makes me kind of switch worlds a bit when I'm playing football. I'll be thinking of referee situations, and I'll be agreeing with some of the calls that the referees make, especially in like Premier games. I sometimes see like fans and players, they'll be screaming at the ref saying, "Hey, that wasn't this or that wasn't that." But as a ref now, I can understand why they made them type of calls, and I can see why they get the stick too.
Yeah. You're on the other side. How difficult was it for you to understand some of the rules that probably you didn't quite understand prior to taking the course?
Well, I think it came very natural because I did take I don't want to say a little bit of, I prior to being a ref, I always took a little bit of knowledge just to understand, ref calls and why referees do that. And also Cranston did help me out good with the transition. It was pretty much straightforward. And once I got down to basics, it was just about getting by each game and learning each time that I ref, how to manage the game and how to become a better referee each game. So
Yeah. Every game is different, so something different happens
yeah,
in every single game. You're like, man, I ain't never seen that before, or those
yep.
type of things. Are you sometimes so caught up in the game that if something new does happen, you say to yourself, "Well, I haven't seen that before," and then you kind of have to refocus back into the game?
Yes. I can be honest. This is one time I remember a child. He did some trick. I remember it was crazy. I've never seen it before, even in professional football. And I was sitting there like, whoa. But then I got kicked, and at the same time I was in a little daze, and then I remembered I was like, hey, wait, I'm gonna call it for I was too busy dazzled by the trick, and I was just like I gotta remember my first video as a referee. So I mean, I do see a lot of new things because kids they got a whole mind of just talent that they may think of doing different things and stuff. So you do see some different things, and also, sometimes it may be a foul there or not. Sometimes you got to catch them things, and as a player, you don't really think about it was a foul there, but as a referee, you got to make sure you always see that, and make sure that your linesmen also see that too. Or,
Right.
you know,
Do you
yeah.
remember the first ever game you officiated?
Yes, I don't remember the players or the team, but I do remember the first time I actually rapped in my experience.
What
It
was that?
was definitely different.
Yeah.
I remember because I was only 17 at the time, and I remember just it was different hearing, parents, fans on the side, how they get. I
Right.
remember I didn't call a foul because I remember I was thinking of it more as through the premier instead of the younger age group. So when I saw one of these fouls, I'm like, that was nothing in it. So I let it go. Well, I heard this parent rip me into me on this. But the good thing that I'm good at is like I kind of block out things that I heard. So even when I hear it, I don't really take into it. And I never really worry about it. But I do remember even after the game, parent coming to me, oh, this was that and this and that. I'm like, all right, that was my first game. That was just, I'm just starting. But yeah, looking back at that, though, I mean, it definitely have made a big improvement. I mean, I actually look forward to doing games nowadays as a referee, as it is exciting to just see how the younger lad play and just how they develop. Because I'm seeing people from when I first started to now, and just to see that big gap from 3 years that it can make in a child's development is crazy. So
Yeah. You
been
do a
real
lot
good
of
since.
inquiry before the game. The good
Yes.
thing is that the parents are away from the pitch. They're not down right down like if you were at North Village or BAA or
Yeah.
something like that. But the fact that the kids are allowed to play a lot freely at the 13-year age and the coaches are trying to manage. How much of that do you remember when you were playing?
Oh, I definitely remember. I said I could relate to a lot of how these children feel because I remember one time this child was just like, I wish my mother would just stop shouting at me and telling me to do this. I was like, not the mother, but I just remember hearing parents on the side when I was playing and I was young, and I knew that that could definitely make a big difference in how a child plays and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, it's different seeing it nowadays compared to how I could relate to when I was playing. So.
What calls do you struggle with still today?
I think the most would be not to say a penalty, but well, a penalty is pretty straightforward. But when it's a handball with the penalty situation, but sometimes it may not look as if it's actually much into it, or it was a forced handball. So just pretty much balancing the right call and wrong call. Because I know it, but sometimes it may be a split instance where the ball just bubbling around and it may have hit a hand and you don't really know because it just bunks on the rock.
Right.
But that's probably would be my most difficult ones to call. Other than that, everything else has been straightforward.
Right. We're going to go back to that question again. And the
Yeah.
question for anyone is the goalkeeper defending against a penalty kick allowed to have 1 foot into the field of play prior to the ball being in play? Once again, is the goalkeeper defending against a penalty kick allowed to have 1 foot into the field prior to the ball being in play? And the other question is a goal scored directly from a ball thrown by the opposing goalkeeper counted? As we all know, we have a lot of fields that have wind conditions and so forth. So is a goal scored directly by a ball thrown by the opposing goalkeeper counted. You and I had a conversation prior to going live, and you were kind of
Yep.
spot on. So we'll hit you up. They might get the answer.
Yep. It's,
But
it's like a lottery ticket for me.
yeah, when you look at the club you play for, they have a very big influence in young people coming through the ranks, and we've seen quite a few of those players go on to be youth referees. But is that something ingrained in the club?
Yes, I mean they do encourage, just to have even the older people, but younger too, to even try to just try out youth referee or try to see a different perspective, so that it's not always, the referee is this, the referee is that, and you get the different understanding of a different perspective to see how it's like to be in the life of a referee, and after in the end of a lot of that stuff, some people actually do come out and enjoy refereeing. I mean, one, as you could say, is Janika Sealy. He actually said he wants to strive to be a actual FIFA referee. So, I mean, them type of things then they come from just trying out something new that you would have probably never expected to do. So,
Yeah, we're
it
expecting
definitely is being
Janiko.
enforced within the club just to
Yeah,
try
we're
out.
expecting Janiko. We got Tajari Rogers joining us. Good evening, Tajari. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good.
Good, good, good. You got a light there? There you go. That's a little better. So Tajari, how did you get involved in officiating?
Well, really, I didn't need a job, so like, but like, I did need to understand the game more because I am a player as well.
Right.
I needed to understand the game more, so I signed up for a referee to see from their point of view and
Mm.
understand the game more. Yeah.
Has understanding the game more from a referee standpoint helped your game itself?
Yes, yes, because then like I could tell my teammates, and I will also know like why he called that decision, like why he made that decision.
Mm. What rules have you learned that you still struggle with in game days?
Well, I I wouldn't say like I don't struggle with any like that, but like if like because I might be in a different perspective from the referee, so he'll probably see an offside and I wouldn't. So I'll be like, referee, are you sure?
Mm. Mm. Back to you, Keyshawn. When you start talking about officiating and so forth, what are one of the things that you really want to, Hermia, when you're doing a youth game to ensure the safety of the players? What are some of the things that you want to make sure that you as the official is doing to ensure the safety of the players?
Just making sure I keep up with, the falls or the reckless tackles, because sometimes when you don't call no fouls or reckless tackles, that may lead to the game getting a little sporadic and everybody getting a little chaotic. So just keeping up with that, and also, just enforcing that authority to make sure that nobody's really getting out of line. Like, so that's one big thing to do in that aspect.
Yeah. Uh, just talking about him, and here he is. Nico,
Sorry, pardon me talking.
no problem, no problem at all, brother, no problem at all.
Yeah,
Keyshawn was bigging you up, saying that you're gonna be the next FIFA referee. So
yeah.
big shoes to fill. But when you start looking at how you got involved in officiating, what drove you that route?
Um, I always like just wanted to be a referee, like just to see or get the feel of it and see like the differences between a player and a ref. So now I see things differently now that I started being one.
Mm. How does it help you in your game?
How does it help me in my game? That's just the things that I used to. Sorry, things that I used to think the ref was wrong for. I now see from a ref's point of view, like his in the right, and I was in the wrong.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Keyshawn, how important, because we were just talking about it, how important is to ensure that when you make a call, you in your mind believe it's the right call? Because sometimes when you can almost tell in some games when the referee is unsure the
Yeah.
way the person blows the whistle. Am I right?
Yep, that is true.
They
Sometimes it
almost
might be a
almost like
soft
they're
whistle
doubting
or
themselves.
a loud whistle because the soft whistles are kind of like, is it a call or not? And that also comes down to the ARs too. But I have had a couple instances where, sometimes my linesman will give one thing, but what I saw physically from where I was to, and my perspective, that it was the other decision. And I would just pretty much be like, okay, I'm sticking with my decision because I'm the referee. I'm the one that's got the whistle. So that's what I go for. And if my judgment was off that time, then that's okay. But the play is going past. I can't really think on it for the rest of the game. So I just try to stick to my decision. But most of the times I try to stick with my ARs and trust them in decisions with that.
Janika, what about do you have that scenario sometimes where you will see something and if the AR sees something different, you kind of have a conversation of I kind of saw it another way. Did you hear me, Janika?
Oh, that was me. I
Yeah.
sorry, I thought you directed at us. Can you repeat that, please?
No. You.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah. Have you ever had that scenario where you will see an incident or an infringement one way, but your AR's seen it a different way? Do you kind of have a conversation with the AR while you decided to continue with the call you felt was the right call?
Yeah, I had a lot of situations like that. Just me as being the referee, I can overrule a lot of things. Like even though he could have been closer, it all comes down to what the man in the middle thinks. And yeah.
Yeah. How much? Because I know you guys now see up close and personal with other officials, the more senior officials that do Premier and under 17 games and all that there. But you see they have like conversations with their ARs prior to the game. You see them out warming up and all that. How much of that do you guys take a look at over your shoulder when you're getting ready to play a game that you want to emulate when it's your turn to referee a game?
Well, I could start off with that one. I do actually say that you kind of want to emulate most of it if you, especially when it comes to, say, bigger games, when you get up to the youth finals or even the all-star games, because it's something that just looks professional when you do it. And just, the professional look of also being a referee is one thing and getting out to do it's another thing. So, I always take a look every time I'm warming up, actually. Even though it's supposed to be warming up, I'll still be looking at the referees warm up, seeing Francis or Martin, them lot sprinting down the line and back. So, but yeah.
Janico, have you had any opportunities to do any senior games yet?
No, not it.
Are
No, I
you
haven't.
are you chomping at the bit to try and see if you can get into one?
I want to, but I play football Sundays too, so it's kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
See, that's the only conflict.
Yeah.
There will come a time where you be thrown into
Yeah.
one. But the good thing is that you guys seem very keen to do it. And why are you keen so much to be involved in officiating?
But I'll say it feels like a sense of giving back actually, growing up and playing the game, but also still helping the youth in the development. Because even as a referee, you're not just officiating, but you could talk to the youths and tell them, what they did wrong or right. So kind of being a little guidance to them too. So, and it's also just really enjoyable to watch how these young players develop and play the game at their age. And you see some things that the fans may see from above, but seeing it right up and close is kind of better to view it at. So
Mm, mm.
Yeah, and piggybacking over what Kishan said, like I'm at every age group from under sevens, nines, 11s, right up to basically under 17s. And it's been times where like I'm stopped the game and like children that don't know how to throw the ball properly or didn't even know what a goal kick was sometimes. They would just start running with the ball, like type of things like that. So it's nice to just be there in the field and kind of teach, like you said, giving back and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm going to repeat this question one more time. This is your first time in seeing it, but you can't answer it. You can't answer it. It's for people watching. So if you know the answer to it, please don't give it up. Well, you should know the answer to it. Then the question again is the goalkeeper defending against a penalty kick allowed to have 1 foot into the field prior to the ball being in play? That's the third reading of that one. And the other question is a goal scored directly by a ball thrown by the opposing goalkeeper counted? And we offer these questions for folks to try and win a prize from the Bermuda Football Association. But when obviously every year, Keyshawn, you say this your third year. Celie, how long have you been doing it?
This is my second year.
Second year. And obviously rules change every year in football. They think they're changing them for the better or just to make it a little more easier to somebody. But when the rules change, how much of it do you guys take, or how long does it take for you to kind of grasp the new rules? Because this year, what was it, 4 new rules that changed? 4 or 5, right?
Yep.
Something like that. So how long did it take? Because I mean, probably no one's got down the handball because that's so far-fetched. It's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But the other ones, how long did it take for you to settle in to totally understand it?
Well, it was not to say fairly quick, but we did have a couple Zoom calls before the season actually started. And it was just based on just learning the new rules for the year and pretty much explaining how they worked. And we had a big presentation, we had a nice speaker from CONCACAF. So, that actually helped a lot with understanding the rules, because also as a player, you should be knowing these rules too, just in case. But, knowing it both as a player and a referee helps out, because I know rules that some players may not know because I'm being a referee. But yeah, getting the concept of it once, you see it in the professional level on TV and you see how they call them and why they call, you start to understand a little more too. So yeah, it took a couple, I'd say about a month to really fully, implement it into, our game. So
how long did it take you, Celie?
Truthfully, I just take it game by game, because, like, for example, the handball rule, like, if you sleep on, like, you might get a situation where you have one game where where it's a close call, and another game where it's it was an actual fall, like, an actual handball.
Right.
So, like, it's just, the rules just come game by game. You see different things every game. You know what I mean? So it takes, I'd probably say, after like 3 or 4 games.
Right. When you guys are officiating, say like the under 7s, because they're very playful. I mean, the ball drops and it seems like everybody's around the ball kind of thing. Do you guys get caught up in watching those kids have a good time kind of thing, and you end up laughing more than you end up officiating?
Sometimes, even a couple of older age groups too. Sometimes I have a little laugh. I mean, not to laugh at them, but just seeing that they're gonna get better, but at the time they do now, it's just sometimes they have little moments that they have.
Right.
Yeah, that's the point where, like, kids are running around in circles and they're pushing this child and they're just falling, getting back up. It's like madness going on. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Just keep playing. Like,
How much of it sometimes do you have to stop yourself, because the ball will be coming towards you, and instinct is to either trap it or pass it, or how much of that do you have to control yourself at times to not be involved in the play? Celie?
Sorry, is it? What was the last part?
How much do you have to control yourself not to be involved in the play when you're officiating?
Sometimes I'm just gotta say to myself, "Hey, Eddie, rap, you're not really playing with me." So, yeah.
Hey, but that's why I leave it to halftime, because during the game, I have these little feelings. I see the ball run, I'm like, I just want to shoot that ball. It's drilling nice, but then I'm remembering this is the game. But at halftime, I'll be kicking the ball around. I'm like, yeah, this is the time where we get to kick the ball. But I'm definitely had a lot of instincts where I'm just like, I see the ball bonks on the road, like that'll be a nice volley or a nice shot. I wish I could have that in the regular game, but That's the kids' game, so you have to let them play.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, Tajari. When you look at it, Tajari, what's the age group you've been officiating?
I've been officiating under 9s and under 11s this season so far. Yeah.
Yeah. How comfortable are you at those ages officiating games?
I'm very comfortable. Like, yeah, I'm very comfortable with officiating.
Yeah. Do you feel as if you people try to intimidate you because you're young and officiating, more so because they're trying to get it over for either their kid or their team?
Yeah, sometimes, but like most of the time, like I just ignore it. Like I just officiate my own game. I see what I see, and yeah, I make my own call.
Who do you play for?
I play for Dennytown
And what age group?
under 13.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're officiating and then heading straight to play the game right after that.
Yes.
How has that worked out for you? Because obviously,
Um,
when you're officiating, your mind's set at one thing, but when you're playing, you kind of got to set yourself up for something different.
yes, definitely. Because when I'm officiating, it's just I got up and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna officiate. So I can't touch the ball. But then when I go to my game, it's like sometimes I get like I hesitate to touch the ball.
Right.
Like I'm so used to like officiating, so I'm like, hold on, am I wearing my referee or?
See that, Keyshawn? You can
Yeah,
have that volume.
yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just talking about that today, where I asked those guys about in the games, how many times do you have to stop yourself from getting involved when you're the referee? Because it can get to a point in a game where you might say, "Man, that's a good ball to me," and then you gotta realize, hold on, I'm the referee. I'm not in any play. But where do you guys see? I know. Sealy, Keyshawn was saying that you really want to take it as far as you possibly can, but where do you see refereeing taking you? Because everybody that plays the game, that puts on the boots, that puts on the pads, that puts on a jersey, has aspirations of playing international football, and we would all be kidding ourselves if we didn't. But looking on the other side, where do you think refereeing can take you? And I'll start with you, Sealy.
I think referee could take me to, I wouldn't say the highest stage, because being that there's no professional football in Bermuda, they wouldn't let you go up to like all the big World Cup games. So like, I just want to I want to push to be a FIFA ref one day. So I'm just looking to get to the highest stage I could get with that.
Okay. Key?
Well, truthfully, I think I want to wait till pretty much football's done, and then I do want to continue on reffing after football's done. Pretty much late 20s, probably even just before 30. I even think about like considering even just starting to be a ref, and even at that age, if I'm still good and fit, I'll try to push also to try to be a FIFA ref. So, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Although you guys are young, you're old in the game, isn't it? You guys have been playing for.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Tajari? What aspirations do you have for officiating?
Well, yeah, like they said, I'll go as far as I can. Like, and if like my football career takes me further, I'll just wait until like that door's done or whatever, or like retire, and then I might just go back. Might just go back and might even want to be a FIFA referee after that too.
Okay. Well, I personally want to thank you guys for your time this evening, and I would encourage you guys to stay in it. You're giving something back to these young people. You were young once playing, and somebody had to officiate your games, and now it's your turn giving back to officiate these young people games. And when called upon, you will also do senior games as well. And I have no doubt that you'll be supported in several ways to ensure that you guys are doing everything you possibly can to keep the game going. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's it for this edition of the Referee's Corner here on IslandStats.com. I'm Earl Baston. Do enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Like,